Prince Castle holding bin from the box, you want to make sure that you lift the unit from the ends and not from the middle heater, because you can have some bowing of the panels and cause the dividers to get out of their slots. Before you turn the Prince Castle unit on and plug it in, you want to peel the plastic off of the unit. It's off the top and the sides, and you just got to grip a hold of it and peel it all the way out. Once the plastic has been removed from the holding bin and you plug the unit in, you want to turn it on and allow 30 minutes for the unit to warm up before using it, after it's been wiped down with sanitizer. The Prince Castle holding bin does not come with the amber high temperature pans, so you need to source these, and once you've got those, they just slide in. You want to make sure that they are on top of the rail, and there are stops in there, so it will reach a spot where it feels secure in the holding cabinet. Once you've turned the Prince Castle holding unit on, and you can push your set point button to see what the temperature is supposed to be at while it's heating up, you can make sure that it's in the correct temperature. The international holding bins will come in Celsius already, but if for some reason it is actually in Fahrenheit, such as this one is right now, you can easily switch it over to the Celsius setting by turning the Prince Castle holding unit off, holding the down arrow, and while you're doing that, turning the unit back on. And there it shows the C for Celsius. Now if you're taking the fried product out of the fryer and putting directly into the Prince Castle holding bin, you want to put it in the pan. Some markets will use a drain pan inside the pan that allows more airflow around the product. Either way, once it's cooked and you take it out of the fryer, you put it into the pan, slide it into the holding bin, and you press the start button. The button will either be green, or if you've already got another pan in that is older, it would be a yellow. That's the traffic lighting system. We'll get into that a little bit more later. Taking product out of the Henny Penny cabinet and then putting into the holding unit, you have to reduce the hold time in the Prince Castle holding bin by whatever time you've held it in the Henny Penny cabinet. So for example, if you've held the product already for 10 minutes in the Henny Penny, when you put it into the Prince Castle holding unit, what you want to do is you want to start the timer right away, and then you have to reduce the time on the timer. And I'll show that right now. You push the button to start the timer, and then you push and hold that and dial down the number with the down arrow until you get to the time you desire. That's 10 minutes less. And now it is set for the reduced hold time based on the Henny Penny time that was already held. The Prince Castle holding bins work on a traffic lighting system with the timer bar. So you've got red, yellow, and green lights that you're going to encounter during the operation of the unit. The green light is the product that is oldest, so that's the one that you want to pull from first. The yellow light is an older product, which is still good to use, but you want to use your green product first, and then you'll use your yellow, which will change colors after you turn off the other pan. And the red means there's no product in it if it's a solid red. Flashing green means you need to start cooking more product because you're nearing the end of your hold time and you need to have time to cook more product to replace the product that you're going to have to be throwing out of the unit in a little while. The yellow is the same. It's a product that is about to expire and you're going to have to start cooking more. And a blinking red light means the product has expired and you need to throw it away. So you'll see here, if I push this product, this one is a green. So this is the first one, and this is another pan of the same product. This arrow points up for this pan, this arrow points down for this pan. When I activate this light, this one becomes yellow. So this is the oldest product, this is the second oldest product. Now, if I use up all this product, or it's expired and I turn it off, and you get to push the button 3 times to cancel. This one now becomes the green light automatically. It remembers which product is next in line. So you have it managing the age of the product for you. This is an example of 2 pans of product. One is green and one is yellow. They're both blinking, which signifies that you need to start cooking more product because the product is nearing the end of the hold time. So it has pre-programmed in the bar that you need to allow a certain number of minutes to start cooking product. So as soon as this is expired, you have fresh product to put in its place. Now here's the example of the same 2 products that have now expired. So both of them have switched to a blinking red light, which means the product needs to be discarded. So to turn off the product, you push the button once, that stops the alarm, and then you got to take the pans of product out and throw them away, and then refill them with fresh. The holding bin, the timer bar contains several different products that are pre-programmed for the KFC system. So if one of the products is not in the location that you want in the pan, you can reassign a different product to that pan location. So the first thing you do to get into the first programming mode to do that is you want to push the Prince Castle logo button and hold that until you've entered into the programming mode, which takes approximately 6 seconds. Once it's in, you see program on PROG on all of the buttons. What you want to do is you want to select which location you want to change the product on, and you push the button next to it, and from there you see the product that is currently programmed in that spot. With the up and down arrows on the timer bar, you can scroll through the library of products that are in the holding bin and select a new product. And then once you've found the product you want, you press the menu and enter button on the end of the timer bar, and that saves the change. And then you press the Prince Castle logo to get out if you're done programming. Otherwise, you can program another channel. There's a second mode in the timer bars in the programming that allows you to make several other changes. To get into the second level of programming, you have to push and hold the Prince Castle logo button, and at the same time push and hold the menu enter button. And then you hold both of them in for about 6 seconds, and you will get a menu that if you just follow the displays on the screen, it basically tells you what to do. So this one says set, product, time, up and down arrows, and enter. So right now I would select enter if I want to select and change a product name, a product time. If I use the up and down arrows, I can scroll through the options. Here's where I can set the volume. The next selection would be to set the link group, which that's an added feature that's not really in use in the KFC system, so you don't need to worry about that. Maximum transfer time, that's another feature that's really not being used, so you don't really need to worry about that. Alternate time, this is the amount of time where it shows the product name and then it switches over to the time of the hold time that's remaining. So with this, you can set it so that it only shows the product name and doesn't show the product time, the whole time at all, or you can have it switch back and forth faster. And that's all the options there. So for example, if we wanted to do the alternate time, from here I would just select the enter button from the selection with time here, and it shows 5 seconds, so I can change that up or down to up to 15 seconds or down to 0 seconds, which would be off, so that would only show the product name. And leave it at the setting of 5 seconds. Whatever change you make, if you want to save the change, you have to hit the enter button. And then from here, you're still in the second programming mode. So from this point, we can scroll back, and here is the volume setting. So if we want to change the volume of the alarm, the audio alarm, we would push the enter button. And you can see here number 3 is blinking. That's the current default setting. With the up and down arrows, I can change that from 3 down to a 2, to a 1, to 0, which is off. And you can hear the difference in the tone as you're making those changes. So 3 is the factory setting. I will put it back to 3 and then press the enter button to save any changes. And from here, we can go to product time. So if I have one of the products in the holding bin that we're changing either the hold time or the cook more time, we can do that through this point. You press the enter button to select it, and then here it shows the product. So we can use the up and down arrows to scroll through to whichever product it is that we want to change the hold times on. So we will we'll do the wedge here. Once you've selected the product or scrolled to the product you want, you press the enter button to select it, and now it shows the hold time, which is 30 minutes. And from the up and down arrows, I can increase or reduce that time. Once I'm satisfied with the changes I've made, I push the menu enter button, and now it shows another time, 7 minutes. This is the cook more time. So this is how much time you allow from the time the reminder comes up on the bin until you cook more product to put back into it. So if your cook time is 10 minutes, you're going to need at least a 10-minute warning time on this setting to do that, which you would just use your up and down arrow then to make that change. And then once you've made your change, you hit the enter button to save it. Now you've also got the ability to change names. So if you need to create a new product, what you do is you basically take a name that's existing in the library and you edit it to a new product. So to select that, we're in product name. I'm going to select enter. And now I use the up and down arrows to select the product. So as you can see, there's a large number of products pre-programmed in the holding bin. And we've got several generic ones like these right here. So I'll take this SPC1 and I'm going to edit that to create a new product. So the first thing I would do is select that with the enter button. And here you see the product, the first letter of the product is blinking. I use the up and down arrows to make the change. Once I've selected the letter I want, I push the button next to the display to move on to the next character. Once again, just using up and down arrows to get to the settings that you want. So, and it is alphanumeric, so you've got numbers, you've got characters, and letters. So I'm going to create a product here that just says wing. And if I keep pushing this button, it just goes back to the beginning. So you can see I can scroll through, so if I've made a mistake, I can go back and change any of those letters. Once I'm satisfied with the name, then I push the enter button. And now that's a new name, new product that's in the holding bin. Now the only thing is that if that product has a different hold time and cook more time, you have to change those as well. So then you would have to go back in and change the product time. So now I would select that with the enter button, and I scroll through with the up and down arrows until I get to wing, which is right here. I would select enter, and here it shows 30 minutes. We'll say that this product needs a 35-minute hold time. I would increase that to the 35 and then push the enter button. And we'll say that has a 5-minute cook more time, so I change that to 5 minutes and select the enter button. So now that product has got all the correct settings in the holding bin. Now I can push the Prince Castle logo to exit. And now if I want to put that product in the location, I have to go back into the first programming mode, holding the Prince Castle logo, and I can assign that to one of the pan locations. So if I want to put wing here, I select this product, I use the up and down arrows to scroll through until I find that new product, which there it is. And from there I push the enter button and then the Prince Castle logo to exit. And now you can see this new product wing is in the timer display on the holding bin. One of the other features on the holding bins is there is the ability to have multiple menus on the Prince Castle holding bin. And the way that you see the different menus is by holding this menu enter button. You can see right now this one is coming up as menu 3. You can use your up and down arrows to scroll through to menu 4, menu 5, menu 6, menu 1, menu 2, and then back to menu 3. From the factory right now, that's all the same menus, but you have the ability to put different mixes of products in for different times of the year, or different menu board for promotions and things. Castle holding bin, you've got the ability to change the heater settings on the holding unit. That's the letters you see here. You see an A here, a B here, a C here. Those are the top 3 heaters of that shelf. You've got a D here, and that covers the whole bottom shelf. You see D here as well, but it is one bottom shelf. And then on the lower cavity, you've got the same thing. You have an A here, a B here, a C letter here, and then D is this whole bottom shelf. So when programming the heater settings, you can go over here on the controls. This first button, actual temperature, shows what the heater is currently at right now, and it will fluctuate a few degrees from the set point temperature during normal operation. As far as the set point, programming the set point, this is where you have to pay attention to which shelf you are on, upper shelf versus lower shelf. So as you scroll through with your up and down arrows, you will see the letters change here, and at some point this red dot next to upper shelf will switch to the lower shelf area. And so this would be A is the A upper shelf is this top upper left hand pan cavity right here, this heater. B upper shelf is this cavity. C upper shelf is this cavity. D upper shelf is this heater on the bottom of the pan of the upper shelf. A of lower shelf is this upper heater on this cavity. B lower shelf is this pan cavity of the upper heater. C lower shelf is this upper heater on this cavity. And then D lower shelf is this heater. The reason that's important to know that is when you go into program the heaters, you have to program one heater at a time by entering the programming mode, make the changes, and then exit the programming mode, and then selecting your next heater to program. So if we were to change the program, the temperature setting on this heater right here, I need to make sure first of all that it's on upper shelf and it's on the letter A, which is that cavity. I push the Prince Castle and the set point second buttons for 6 seconds, and once it's entered into the programming mode, you see a second red dot next to PROG. That means you're in programming mode, and from this point I can raise or lower those. When cleaning the Prince Castle holding bin, the first thing you want to do is make sure the unit's turned off and disconnected from the power source. Once you've got it disconnected, you want to clean the unit with a damp cloth. You want to make sure you wring out all the water. You don't want excess water in the unit, so just damp with that. And all you need to do is just wipe down the shelf of the unit. You can do top and bottom. And just wipe down all the cavities. That's the only thing there is as far as maintenance on the holding bin. And you can also wipe down the outside of the unit as well with timing hose. So you want to make sure it's damp and not wet. If you're still dripping water out of the reg, it's too wet, so you need to wring it out until you don't get any extra moisture out. And you can clean it from both sides of the holding cabinet as well, because it is a pass-through unit.